Yo, in this video, I'm showing you how I get a clean comb over with sharp scissor work and an easy to follow fade system. And I'm gonna break down the exact guard setup that I use, how I get that fade blurry, and a little detailing trick that makes every blend come out clean, even on stubborn hair. So if your comb over haircuts ever look bulky or uneven, this one's gonna help you big time. So the first step that we're going to do is saturate the hair, and the reason why is because it makes it so much easier to section the hair from what's got to be on the sides and what's got to be on the top. And this is how I start every haircut. Using the wide teeth of my comb, you see I'm going to draw these really straight comb lines. These comb lines is going to show me exactly what I need to section, and look how clean this section comes out. All you got to do is, after the hair is saturated, use the wide teeth and you're good to go. Next step, go ahead and grab the hair with the fine teeth, the other side of the comb, and go right on the parietal ridge, right on that corner of the head. And you're gonna grab the hair very tight with your fingers, and your fingers are gonna be right on the side of their scalp. You can see I'm gonna grab a small section of hair and then cut it, grab another small section, and then cut it again. And I'm right on the corner of his head. That is called the parietal ridge. This sets you up for easy fading and very easy scissor work as well. And that's why I always will start my haircuts with this right here. So you guys can see I'm gonna grab little sections at a time, and as I go to the back of the head, you can see that that line is starting to get lower. And that's because I want to contour this haircut specifically to its head shape. The best haircuts that you guys are going to give are haircuts where you take in, okay, how is their head shape? How is their face shape? What are their facial features? And how can I make this haircut look the best on them? I'm telling you, this will take your haircuts to a whole nother level, because now you're giving them like a tailored haircut, and your clients are gonna absolutely love that. You can see I'm doing the same thing on the other side, just with very tight tension. I'm getting a very good grip on the hair. That's why the hair needs to be saturated. And then I just use the fine teeth of my comb, where the teeth are very tight. And this just sets me up for success for my next step. Now, my next step is I'm actually gonna take the 3 guard on my Tomb 45 clippers. I absolutely love these clippers because they mow through hair very, very easy. And now you're gonna take that and just go straight up. Don't start to cut into that bulk, because you wanna preserve that bulk. A lot of the time with comb overs, people will shave all that weight off, and it's just like, I think that's like the lazy way out. Unless the client specifically says they want it like that, majority of the time, this is gonna look a lot better, it's gonna last a lot longer, and it's gonna really separate you from the rest. And you can see how easily it's blending into the scissor work, because I made sure to keep the weight and I placed it correctly on his head. Now we can get into cutting the top. So I'm just gonna take the fine teeth of my comb, pull the hair straight up. Now you can see, look at that guide that I have on the left side. It tells me exactly how much length to cut off. And then I'm just gonna keep my fingers straight. All I want you guys to think about is keeping your fingers parallel to the floor. Look, I try to keep my fingers super straight. I look for that guide on the left side, and then I just bring it all the way over. It's super easy and simple to do. Now, if you guys notice how my client came in, the back of his head was like spiking up a lot. Now, the reason why is because his previous barber took his fade too high in the back, and they cut it too short in the back as well. When the hair is cut too short, depending on the hair texture, what happens is the hair is gonna stick straight up. It's gonna make it very hard to style, and that's not what you want. So I always try to keep enough length in the back so that it can actually lay down, and it's gonna look a lot better, and your client's gonna appreciate it a lot. As a barber, you have to know how to solve your client's problems. And that's a big problem that a lot of clients have. Now, when it comes to cutting the front, I do like to go ahead and start to stand to the side and take vertical sections. It just helps me personally to like keep some of the length in the front and not cut it too short. And now I'm gonna go and cut a little bit of his bangs, and I'll go ahead and I'll kind of comb the hair in position just to make sure that everything is a very good length and that my client likes how it looks throughout the haircut process. Now I gotta go and start seeing how I want to spread out my fade. So I just use the 3-finger method to show me where to place my top line and where to place my bottom line. Now I have full confidence on using my clipper and my trimmer to set in the bottom line of this fade. The reason why that I'll use my trimmers is just to be more efficient, because I can only cut the hair one time, but now I know exactly where to set my line, and I know that I'm ready to use my shaver. Now look at how I'm using my trimmers. I'm going underhand. The other way is overhand, and that's usually how you line people up. That makes it a lot harder to get that line out. So then after I use my trimmer underhand, I can use my shaver. Now it's very important that when you use your shaver, when you get closer to that first guideline, I like to do like a X motion. I like to use my shavers a little bit more diagonal, and I start to lessen up the pressure. That helps me to get very close, but yet not create that harsh guideline that's going to make it very hard for me to take it out later on in the fade. Now I can go back to my Tomb 45 clippers, start with the 1.5 guard all the way open, and now we can go straight into the 3. Now, why am I using the 1.5 instead of using the 2? Well, the reason why is because when you open up the lever and you have a 1.5, it's almost like using a 2. And these clippers that I'm using, they have what's called a stretch bracket. So it makes it a little bit more versatile than other clippers on the market. Now, after I use my clipper open, I can close the lever, and now I'm using a true 1.5. This is just allowing me to debulk and make it so much easier to fade. And you guys can see that when I'm debulking, I'm using my whole blade because I want to cut the hair as fast as possible. Later on, when I'm fading, that's when you guys are going to start to see me use just the corners. Now, what was I pointing at? I was pointing at the direction that the hair grows at and how you want to cut it against the grain. Now we're going to use no guard. So there's no guard on my clipper and the lever's all the way open. And I'm going to create a pretty big panel. Now I can use my half guard with my lever all the way open, and I can start to blend into that 1.5 before. Now you guys are going to see, now I'm fading. I'm not just setting in guidelines and I'm not debulking, but as I start to fade, I'm only going to use the corners of my clippers. This helps me to create a smoother fade without using a bunch of, tricks to get all these guidelines out. All I have to do is just use the corners of my blade, and that helps me like not set any more lines in and just keep the fading process very smooth. I'll start with my clipper open, and then I slowly start to close the clipper to make it a lot easier. And now I'm all the way closed with my clipper, and you can see that guideline is starting to soften up. Now with my no guard lever all the way closed, I'm gonna go up halfway, but that area above his ear, I'm gonna not cut it so much because it's already light. That part of his head sticks out, so it's naturally already light and looks like it's a little bit faded if we're being honest, right? So what I want to do is I want to have just like an even shade. I don't want one part of my fade to be lighter and one part of it to be darker, because then it's going to look choppy and inconsistent. So you want to pay attention to not just taking out your guidelines, but you want to be paying attention to their head shape. What areas are naturally darker and what areas are naturally lighter. And now I'm just going to use the corners. Using the corners helps me to blend out that last guideline, because you guys should still be able to see it. That half guard didn't take it out 100%, but that's okay. I'm going to go no guard all the way open like I'm doing now, using my corners, and just start to almost slice into that guideline to blend everything out that I need to blend out. And you can see how quickly this fade is coming together. But I'm going to show you guys how to take this fade to the next level and how to take every single fade to the next level. Now, before we detail, we have to line up. Lining up is going to help us see all the flaws and all the imperfections in our fade so that we can detail a lot more efficiently and we don't mess up our fade. Sometimes if you're not detailing intentionally, like you're just cutting whatever you see, you're going to actually push your fade up or do something that you don't really want to do. So I go ahead and I line them up first, and now let's get into the special trick. What we do is we pull out our phone, and you guys are gonna see with a new fresh pair of eyes. I'll zoom in after taking a picture, and I'll start to really see like, wow, okay, well, what areas are darker and what areas lighter. Sometimes people will use a mirror, but sometimes I like to use my phone, and I'll literally see, okay, wow, there's a bit of a skin line here, or there's too much weight at the top. This part's kind of light, this part's kind of dark. And now I can detail effectively, I can detail efficiently, and it's helping you to improve what's called the barber's eye. The barber's eye is just your ability to be able to see what can I detail to make this fade go to the next level. Because when you're cutting hair all day in the barbershop, it's really hard to always keep a fresh eye. So you need to have these little tips and tricks that I'm giving you guys to get to the next level and to be consistent every day in the shop. Now guys, if you don't know little stuff like this, like, don't beat yourself up. I learned stuff like this from my environment, and that's one thing that I want to leave you guys with today. Your environment is so important to the barber that you become, to the man, to the woman that you become, because ultimately guys, your environment is going to pour into you. Like, think about the things that you see, think about the things that you listen to, the conversations that you have, the goals, or what's considered cool. Like, I remember my first barbershop that I ever worked in, the barbers weren't really focused on growing. They weren't focused on having great customer service. They were pretty lazy. They wouldn't come to work on time, and they wouldn't really treat their clients well. And that started to rub off on me because I was around a group of barbers that weren't really that ambitious, if I'm being honest. Doesn't mean that they're bad people, but they weren't really, I wasn't really in the environment that was going to help me grow. And even some friends at the time, I had to stop hanging out with certain friends that I had because all they wanted to do was just talk about girls or party or drink or just get in trouble. And guys, that stuff is going to rub off on you. And this is something that throughout my whole barber journey, I've been a licensed barber for 3 years now, cutting hair for like 4 to 5. And something that I've always noticed is there's such power in your environment. Now, you guys might not be always able to, control every single person in your environment, but what can you control? You can control the environment that you put yourself in, the people that you hang around, the things that you listen to, the things that you watch, the social media accounts that you follow. At the end of the day, that is what you can control. And I really think that if you were to just look at your environment and audit your environment, you would see, wow, it is starting to kind of affect me. And it can affect you in a great way, or it can affect you in a negative way. It really depends on your environment. But they have a saying, and it says that if you hang around 5 bums, you'll be the 6th bum. And that's true. Your environment has a big part to play. And they say that one of the biggest predictions of your life and your success is the zip code that you're born in. Because you just have so many things that are just pouring into you. Because once I got around better barbers that were more ambitious, focused on better customer service, and overall just focused on growth, I just started to change. I started to change as a man. I started to change as a barber. And because of that, my business grew, my clientele grew, my haircut skills got better because I saw another barber across the shop looking at his phone to detail his haircut or trying to give his customer great customer service. You just start to learn things like this. But guys, I hope you guys appreciate these little messages that I leave at the end of the videos, because I want to help you guys become a barber, a better barber. And a big part of that is your haircuts, but another big part of that is just how you walk into the shop every single day. Guys, this haircut came out so flawless. The client loved it. We just styled his hair with a little bit of gel, and you guys can see we spread out the fade beautifully. It's blended into all of that scissor work, nice shape, and a nice stretched blend that looks phenomenal. And he texted me after and said that his wife said that this was the best haircut that he ever got. Now guys, if you appreciate these videos, what I want you guys to do is just share it to one other barber that you know. Maybe it's a barber that you're in school with, or a barber at your shop, or just a barber that you rock with. Share this video with another barber if you want to help them out, because we grow with just community, guys. If you like these videos and you want more of them, one of the benefits of this channel being small is that I can really read every single comment, and we can have some great conversation in the comment section. So I'll see you guys in the comment section. Hope you guys love this video, and I'll see you guys on the next haircut tutorial. All right, you guys have a great day. Peace out and God bless.